Good morning. So the other day, a new patch dropped that did a lot of fixing of various things. I haven't had a chance to read through all the patch notes. I had to do some work last night, so I didn't get a chance to play. So I'm just loading in to take a look at it. Good to see that they got a new landing challenge set up. But the biggest thing is I've heard some complaints and seen some comments on a couple of my videos that they kind of screwed up everything again on the controls. So I'm not expecting this to be fixed. I didn't see anything in skimming over that would fix the rudder access. See, once again, it still doesn't have the option. So they did say it was a work in progress. The downside is I just don't think that it was something they had already on their pipeline, because these patches that we've got, the last one and this one, were likely fixes that were already in place from beta pre-launch stuff. So I don't think they've really hit the pipeline of the actual launch issues yet. That will probably be coming in probably October, in my opinion, by the time they go through, fix, do quality, and all that stuff. So unfortunately, I don't expect to see any fixing on the control issues just yet, but that's just being realistic. Now, this is a new problem that was introduced in this patch that I apparently also have, and a lot of people have. Now, this could just be a temporary issue because I downloaded the patch and immediately continued playing the game. So this could get fixed in a reload. I just don't have time to reload the game right now. Downloading the patch and getting it to install took a little longer than I thought, and I'm out of time to really mess with that tonight. So I'm not sure what the sensitivity is actually going to be like, unfortunately, but it is really disappointing that once again we still don't have things configured or set up right, and we can't really... Whoa, I barely turned it and it went crazy on me. We still can't do basic functionality and things that we would normally do in the game. So that's just kind of an unfortunate situation. I am going to come up here. I'm not really going to do much specifically. I just wanted to do a very basic flight. I think there's another awesome bush plane up here. Yeah, there it is, the Cub Crafter. Not gonna do anything fancy or crazy. We'll do clear skies. We're just gonna depart right out. Oops. I want you set as departure. There we go. Just a little jaunt around the island in sunset, just to see what the default sensitivity is doing in this at the moment. Maybe they tweaked some aspect of it where it doesn't go quite so haywire. I, again, don't think they did anything specific, but I am very curious what they did within the menus and the settings that would cause this type of a blank sensitivity option to where you can't actually get in there and do it anymore. So I think I'm just going to load in this, and then I will probably reboot the game. I won't reboot the computer, I'll reload the game and just see if that does anything after that. Sometimes a patch, depending on how much it changes, and we know how not so great Microsoft is at working patches. See any Windows 10 update in the last ever. So based on that, I really don't have high hopes that they're going to get some of their patching correct. Now, that was different because this game usually takes a heck of a lot longer to actually load in, and that loaded really quickly, on top of which there was a ton of planes sitting down on the end of the runway there in the parking area, which I hadn't seen before. Over there, yeah. So that was impressive. I like that. Very interesting. Let's get this thing airborne now. Shouldn't take too much. I see a lot more, like the strobe lights and all that stuff. I don't recall seeing that quite as active on the ground before. Let's raise the flaps. Let's come over here and take a look at all these GA planes. Surprised the taxi lights don't exist on this side. I guess they might not take off this direction very much. Look at all those planes. I'm impressed. That's a good amount of aircraft that I haven't really seen anywhere else. I wonder why my trim was set so high. also just noticed that the trim itself seems to, if you hold it, actually kick in a lot faster than it used to. That's a change for the better. This is really pretty out here. I've never been... I went to one area in Alaska for the view of the bears, but I didn't really do much actual flying around the area, so this is really my first time taking a good look at the ocean and the snowy area and all that. It's really quite pretty. Neat little town. But this is the default sensitivity, and if I'm honest, this feels good. I mean, if you were watching, the only problem I had on takeoff was simply an issue with the wind kind of blowing me off to the side a bit. After that, oh, be quiet, ATC. After that, I really didn't have any issues, and this is not too bad. I mean, I know planes are very sensitive, so I'm not putting a lot of stick into it, but you see, the plane's just continuing on the same linear speed, so I can adapt my abilities to fly it. The wind still gets me. If I go half, I'm going to go slow to the left, and then I'll go half stick to the right. Yeah, that is awesome. This feels great. In a plane like this feels fantastic, so I almost don't even care that there's no sensitivity options, because this is, at least for this plane, this is perfect. I have no problems flying this. I mean, I'm doing full manual flight on whatever default they've got set for the sensitivity right now, and I have almost full confidence in myself to bring this around and do a pretty smooth landing without any major issues. Now granted, I am going a wee bit fast, and that's alright. We'll bring it around. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not the best pilot, but I mean, if you look at this, I'm dealing with a little bit of wind, but look at how controlled this is. Look at how manageable this is. Oh man, look at this. That was a pretty dang good landing. That's probably one of my best landings yet, comparatively to all of the other garbage that I've done previously. Quick stall. And we're airborne again. Let's get some throttle up. That's really super impressive. I am really, really impressed and pleased, because that, oh man, that's a whole different game. The last time I flew this plane at the, when I did the video landing the Icon in that Russian pit mine that had the graphical glitch, it was flyable, but it was nowhere near this smooth and controllable. I mean, this is perfect. I'm able to just allow the plane to gently roll with minimal adjustments, and it goes nice and slow. I mean, this is barely engaging the stick. That's full stick, full stick, full stick. So whatever it's pulled, I'm loving it. Now maybe this is just it pulling in my citation settings from the previous video where I was at minus 90. Yeah, minus 90. I haven't made a change since that video. I haven't played since that video. So there is the chance that this is just pulling that minus 90, and it just happens to really work fantastically with this. And like I said, I just need to reboot to bring the rest of the game back into the patch and let it function properly. So I'm getting hit by a bit of wind, but I'm not worried about it. I can handle it, I can control it, and I'm going to bring this little guy down quite nicely. Coming a little fast, but it's not a big deal. We'll bounce and apply the brakes. Yeah, so that's fantastic. I'm really pleased with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to exit out, and then I'm going to reload the game, and check those settings, and we'll see what it does. If it's still messed up, I'll do a quick citation flight, and we'll test out the longitude, and we'll just see what happens. So give me a minute to reload the game, and we'll take a peek at what happens. All right, welcome back. The biggest notice that I have here, similar to loading in the game, is that they've done something to optimize the load time and the transition of files from the drive to the RAM, because these load times are so much better. I never understood what was taking so long, like just exiting out of the game back to the main menu. What do you have to load? You don't have to unload the memory. I have 32 gigs of RAM. Anyway, before I get into a rant, let's check the sensitivity here and just see what it does. So I'm set to my citation, so that means minus 90. So while I can't see the sensitivity, I'm going to have to assume that this is running at minus 90. So with that said, if I could find the menu, let's go up to Chicago, just because I've done a fair amount of flights there. Let's go to O'Hare. Let's just start down here, set as departure. Let's come here and switch to the longitude, which I know has problems. I think it might just be the minus 90 worked really well with the bush plane that I was flying, because that was wonderful. That was really good. But again, if I have it set to minus 90, well, no wonder it's a feather. So let's fire this up. The longitude's kind of my calibration for terrible handling, simply because of the horrible stuff. But I've already talked about it, so I'm not going to get into too much of a rant. I'm really hopeful that the load time here won't be too bad. Maybe it was just because I went up to an area where nobody was, and it was up in the north. But again, it had more textures to load. It had mountains, terrain, trees, reflections off the water. All that stuff had to load in, so I don't know. We'll see how long this takes to load. I'm annoyed that the sensitivity settings aren't there, because honestly, I don't know if they've been reset back to default or if they're using my minus 90 setting, and there's no way to know. It feels like the minus 90, but we'll see on the longitude, because I flew the longitude to Salt Lake on the minus 90, so if it's still super twitchy and all that, then obviously it hasn't been fixed. Thought for a second there we had load time improvements on this, but loading into the game was faster. This all of a sudden is back to being slow, so I don't know. Load in game. Yeah, unfortunately this is still slow. Alright, we'll skip ahead to when it plays. Man. What the heck did my plane just do? Alright, so that was pretty garbage on the load time. I think you might agree that took a lot longer than the normal round. It seems like it's slower, so I don't know if it was just a glitch or something up north, or why all of a sudden it's back to loading like poo. That was terrible. I don't understand why it takes so long to load, because everybody starts at an airport, so load the assets that you're immediately going to need and then start streaming everything else into the memory from the background. But anyway, I'm not going to go nuts on that. So what I am going to do is just going to increase my altitude a little bit here. Nothing too crazy. Just in case we run into issues, I can come in here. Oops, I'm not going to put that on. I want to turn on vertical speed, slowly up. I don't care about heading. Yeah, we'll turn heading on. Doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. All right, so that way if I need to, when I come in, I can just stab the autopilot button. Wow, this is laggy too. Performance up north was great. Honestly, I was getting better FPS. Now suddenly I'm back in here and it feels worse than it did before. Oh well, can't have it all. Alright, so I don't think my flaps are down. Oh, they were down. Alright, just one is fine. So we're in the citation. Yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can see that very well. Try to get on the white. So I'm just barely moving it, and you can see how far that surface goes. This is full, this is off, and this is just barely engaging it, and it twitches. So I have a feeling we are going to have a problem, especially with the lower FPS too. Let's do the takeoff roll. Now, other changes are the ATC. They supposedly refined some of that, and I do appreciate that the voices are a little different. That is nice. However, I'm starting on the runway, and I was told to taxi. I requested taxi for straight out departure, but I'm on the runway. Why am I taxiing? I don't need the taxi. Twitchy, twitchy. Yeah, nothing's fixed. Oh my gosh, the wind just rolls the plane, and now I'm backed all over the place. So yep, citation is still completely broken. Yipe. Alright, so that was a quick altitude jump. That is really depressing. Jeez, how much farther down on trims do I have to go? Look at that. I'm gonna go down to 70. This is minus 48 on trims, and I'm still going up. Some of that is the throttle, yes, but alright, we're just gonna break all the rules in the book with my 5 FPS. Wow, this got really bad. So, like I said about Microsoft and patching, they don't know what they're doing. I do need to come back and check some of the visuals. I guess I overstressed the aircraft. Whatever. I don't care. I'll have to double check my graphic settings, see if they reset anything specifically, but sensitivity is still broken. That plane is still unflyable at minus 90, which is a shame. Not going to be loading that again for a little while. This menu loaded much better, so that's good. Let's check the graphics here. Let's see if anything got changed. No, it doesn't look like it. Terrain level of detail, objects level, ultra, 4x, 6x. I think you go up to 8 by 8. Yep, I got you turned down still. Yeah, so nothing changed really on that. That is much a shame. I didn't make any changes. I do want to turn off tech tips, but I gotta find those. They're probably under general. Accessibility. Menu animations, pre-flight cinematics, no. How do I turn off the tooltips? They are off, so... What? Alright, then I'll have to come back to that later. Anyway, I'm disappointed in the patch, as I'm sure a lot of folks are. They did do some fixes that were decent. I do like the new ATC voices. They still got some work to do on that front. I'm going to have to play a little more with some of the places because performance in Chicago seemed a lot worse. Sensitivity is still completely broken. Now, it felt like in the Cub that my sensitivity was at minus 90, and honestly in the Longitude it still felt like minus 90 because the plane just, you know the rant. But I have no way of knowing if it reset to the factory just straight diagonal curve or if it still is using my minus 90. We'll have to wait till another fix comes out. So anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.